an exclusive World Backup Day deal for my listeners. Get 75% off Carbonite Safe Basic at Carbonite.com/Kim. That's Carbonite.com/Kim. Live a better digital life with Carbonite.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Well, good morning. Welcome to Talkback. It's Thursday, the 19th day of March, 2026. Stephen Maxwell, Nathan Martin in the studio this happy Thursday, the final day of winter, supposedly.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, supposedly. You know, I don't know if that stuff matters as much to us down here as it does to folks up north, because it seems like, you know, they never follow the patterns anyway. You know, don't ever seem to get the right time anyhow. So nevertheless, today marks the final day of, well, it's the winter solstice, I believe. Let me find my note here where I noticed that. Yeah, today is officially the last day of winter. The vernal equinox arrives tomorrow morning at 10:46 Eastern time, which marks the beginning of spring. And yeah, so most folks look at March 1st as the beginning, you know, just generally speaking, but there is this specific time frame that people look for. And I tell you who does know this kind of stuff is farmers. They know when to plant and when not to plant.
Well, they have that almanac, so.
And the most famous one of all would be, was it the one Benjamin Franklin put out years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Poor Richards.
I think we're up into the upper 70s today, which is nice.
Lovely.
We're getting back to that.
Yeah, so Poor Richard's Almanac was put out by Benjamin Franklin in the 1700s, 1730, 1740, somewhere along in there. And he gave out his weather forecasts and his practical advice. And that really is the place where we get things like a penny saved is a penny earned, and cleanliness is next to godliness, and all those other things that people think are in the Bible, but they're not. So
cleanliness is next to godliness.
You ever heard that one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not in the Bible.
Not in the Bible. God helps those who help themselves. Not in the Bible. We could do a fun one like that, you know, like
there's a
things
bunch,
that are not in the Bible. Yeah. Early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. They're common sense sayings.
That's in 4th Hosea.
Second Hesitations.
That's in 2 Corinthians.
2 Corinthians. You know, it's really funny you mentioned that, because there was a big brouhaha about President Trump calling it 2 Corinthians last year or the year before last. But a lot of the people I follow from other countries do that. Like in England, it's very common. Australia is very common.
I think that was a controversy like in the first time he ran.
Yeah, maybe it was the first time.
Yeah.
It was before I slept, so.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, hey, we got a phone call already. Save us from ourselves. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, I'm glad y'all talking about Franklin. If you haven't read any of his biographies, I suggest you do so. They're quite entertaining, and they go in a lot more depth. I mean, one of my favorite ones of his intuisms, whatever they could be called, was 3 men can keep a secret if 2 of them are dead. And he had a lot of them that kind of stung like that on the nature of man. But I was actually calling about the death of a man. I don't know if y'all heard, but last week a man left this earth who had a great impact on it. His name was Paul Ehrlich. Did y'all hear about that?
I don't think
Are y'all familiar with who he is?
I don't think so.
Okay. He's the man that wrote the book, The Population Bomb. And he's the one who started in the 70s, in the late 60s, early 70s, started everybody thinking that the world was overpopulated and that everyone was going to starve to death. And he was on Johnny Carson several times. He was on a lot of talk shows. And he said, it's too late. By 73 or 74, he said, it's too late. We're not going to stop it. There's going to be millions, like the early Bernie Sanders. There's millions are going to die. But we've got to take steps now to save the planet. And he was the patron saint of the climate crazies. And the Washington Post, the New York Times, in their obituary of him, showed how devoted they are to leftist ideology. They said his predictions were premature. Well, they weren't premature. They were wrong. They were completely wrong. And because of them, millions and millions of babies, that gave the impetus behind the abortion movement. Millions of babies were aborted because of his predictions. And not only was he never held to account for being wrong, by the 80s, we had put pretty much world hunger behind us. Now, world hunger, since then, the population of the earth has doubled, a little more than doubled, and yet starvation is only caused now for political reasons. We have way more food than we need to feed everyone on the planet. It's only political corruption that still causes people to not get that food. It's not that we can't produce the food, which is what he was preaching. And so, it's usually not a good policy to speak evil of the dead, but this man, I think Adolf Hitler had a rude awakening when he put that bullet through his brain, but this man outdid Hitler in every facet of the game of evil. And but the people on the left are still lionizing him and praising him and saying what a avant-garde he was. But I disagree. And China alone, we've aborted 65 million, I think, at this point since 1973. I haven't looked at the numbers lately, but China well over 1 billion, and who knows, what's going on in there. So anyway,
interesting. Reason.com lists him as history's wrongest man. How about that from Reason.com magazine?
Well, I like Reason.com. They're reasonable. But the far left crazies, they still use his predictions and his tables and his the scary. I mean, I remember in school in Lafayette, Louisiana, being warned about overpopulation. They showed us a film, and they showed these places where houses were built on top of houses, and they showed starving, usually black kids with real emaciated bodies and distended stomachs, and they said, this is the future. This is what's going to happen. That was also the time they were telling us that the world was going into a freeze. Mm-hmm. It wasn't global warming then in the early 70s. It was global cooling. And yes, that's it. And I was scared, but I was relieved because the planet, what they showed us was that the ice age was going to stop between Alexandria and Lafayette. And I lived in Lafayette. So I said, all right, I'm going to survive. Look, as an 8-year-old kid, that's a scary, scary thing.
Hey, I have a question for you. You said Lafayette. Where did you go to elementary school?
Montgomery Elementary School. Okay. Yeah.
Well, we lived there for a couple of years.
Myrtle Place for K. Oh, did you?
Yeah, I went to Plantation Elementary for a couple of years. So.
Yeah, that was on the Scott side. Y'all were the enemy.
That's right. I'm glad we're not enemies anymore, Dave.
Right. I actually lived not far from Plantation, but I was just on the left side of the line to go to the schools.
I went back to the
eastern side of town.
Okay. I went back to town a few years ago with my wife to find the house we lived in, which was in my mind as a child, this massive, wonderful home. Sometimes you talk about not meeting your heroes. You probably don't want to go back to your childhood home because it's never going to live up to your memories.
Yeah, we had the biggest yard in the neighborhood, and we would play football in the yard. We would actually have first downs, and I took my wife to see it, and I thought, oh my goodness, 5 long strides and I'm across it, but it shrunk.
Yeah, that's right.
But anyway.
All right. Well,
y'all have a great day. Thanks for listening to my piece.
Absolutely. Let's go back to the next line. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Well, in the 1980s, my wife taught a couple of years at Plantation School.
Wow.
But the reason I'm calling is there was a fellow named Charles Mann who is a science writer for the magazine. Mm-hmm. And he wrote a book called Wizards and Prophets. And in it, he explains that the prophets are prophetizing doom from overpopulation, but the wizards basically developed the varieties of rice and wheat that are basically providing the carbohydrates and calories needed to support the increased population. And anyway, the guy finally concludes that all the models are basically showing eventually there'll be doom and gloom. Mm-hmm. But the problem with the models is that they're based on predicted information for much of the world's area. In other words, they don't have data for much of the world's area, so they're using a model to predict what's going to happen in those areas. And so it's anybody's guess, certainly, what's going to happen. And it's kind of like, I guess you could ask AI what's going to happen with the Senate race in Louisiana, and it will use some kind of model to determine what's going to happen. The problem with computers is that they're only as good as the data you put into them.
Right.
And if you're estimating the data you're putting into them, you've got kind of a mess.
Well, I think we see that with all of AI. That was a great session I went to a couple of weeks ago, the LSUA Kavanaugh lecture series. They brought in a gentleman who spoke about the illusion of intelligence, and he said that essentially it's all data points, and it's only as good as the data you give it. And it kind of reframed my thinking on AI. I'm not as scared of it or fearful of it. In fact, I'm not quite say I'm gonna. What's that word you use, Stephen? Apocalyptimus, yeah. But nevertheless, I see much more positive out of it, but I also understand the limitations. And I think you're absolutely right, caller, to recognize it as data points and be wary of the info that's been given to it, right?
Yeah, and that brings up my favorite subject, carbon sequestration. It's all based on models. Mm-hmm. And the models only work if you have acceptable data.
Right. Yeah.
So those who favor it say that doom and gloom won't happen. But it's based on models, and it's based on incomplete data from what's basically going to cap the carbon dioxide and prevent it from moving into areas that will endanger people on the surface, endanger water supplies below the surface.
Yeah, I think you and other callers have made that point about the water supply, how critical it is. I heard someone yesterday speaking of the layers of distance between where they want to put the carbon and the aquifers, and they felt like from a scientific level it was the risk was negligible. But I think that conversation needs to continue to be held, and those who have, I mean, you're a very well-trained scientific man, and I appreciate your perspective always.
Okay, well, anyway, maybe it'll get people calling in.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. Appreciate that. With that, we've got to take our bottom of the hour break. We'll be back after Bloomberg News with more on Talkback.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Wall Street remains on edge as the Middle East conflict escalates. Markets have been rattled as Iran and Israel trade strikes on key energy facilities. That put pressure on stocks yesterday. The Dow tumbled 768 points to finish the session, and futures are building on those losses today. Meantime, artificial intelligence drone software maker Swarmer became a public company earlier this week. Shares have surged 1,000% in the past 2 days. Shares closed up 77% yesterday after rising 520% in its first day of trading on Tuesday. The company's AI technology can be used to deploy and coordinate drone swarms. And a major bank is looking to boost its connection with athletes. JP Morgan has formed a council of some of the biggest sports names. It's part of an effort to manage money for more than 500,000 college, working, and retired athletes across the country. The firm tapped NBA Hall of Famer Dwayne Wade to chair the group. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
What's happening at your library this spring? Everything. At Rapides Parish Library, there's something for everyone. We have book clubs, classes, and fun for all ages, all free. Adults, check out our painting classes, gardening workshops, and enjoy a live cooking demo. Kids, you can make slime, learn to draw cartoons, and more hands-on fun. Whatever your age or interest, we've got you covered. Visit your RPL library this spring. We promise you'll find something for you.
Good morning. Sunny skies on our Thursday. Going to be a nice day. Afternoon highs near 79 degrees. We'll see a south-southwest breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies down to 53. Another beautiful day tomorrow with sunny skies. Afternoon highs near 83. Then get ready for a nice weekend. Sunshine Saturday and Sunday. High temps both days in the mid-80s. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Grayson.
If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talkback.
Welcome back to Talkback. News around the world continues to dominate headlines as we hear about the escalating tensions over in the Middle East, specifically around Iran. And I want to take a minute to play a clip from the Wright report that came out this morning. I appreciate one of our callers, Dave, actually turning me on to this. This is this morning's Wright report, and I think it's worth listening to. Let's just take a couple of minutes and catch up with today's issue of the Dean Wright report.
Hey, good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Wright Report, your daily news podcast. Well, normally, anyway, it's a daily news podcast. Today is a little bit unusual. Folks, if you've seen the headlines, we've got some very interesting developments. 3, I would say, to be exact. First, the war with Iran took a very nasty turn yesterday, with President Trump posting to social media late last night that Israel attacked an Iranian natural gas field, and without Trump's knowledge or permission. That is now leading to some grave fears this morning of what might happen next in the oil and natural gas markets today, future forward, as Iran has already blasted natural gas fields in Qatar overnight in revenge. This also raises the issue that I've long covered about the tail wagging the dog, where a junior partner like Israel will pull a senior partner like us, the U.S., into expanded conflicts that are not necessarily in the senior partner's interest. So some very big implications here, but still light on some critical details. Then, we've got new reporting from the outlet Semaphore and Fox News that President Trump's former counterterrorism chief, Mr. Joe Kent, is under investigation this morning by the FBI for leaking classified information. This investigation apparently began a long time ago, well before he quit, raising the possibility that he resigned recently only after he learned of this investigation into himself. Now, on one hand, if true, that's not a huge surprise. It certainly matches my reporting to you yesterday that he was allegedly leaking to the press, perhaps via his media-connected wife, maybe somebody in the podcaster world, we don't know. But on the other hand, this alleged investigation into Mr. Kent actually is a big deal and a shocker, a surprise, because, for example, it's a massive security breach with major questions about what he leaked to whom, the damage to source networks, and, all right, let's be fair, confirmation that, yes, he actually did it. And then we have the other angle here. As I forecasted yesterday, Mr. Kent went onto the podcast of Tucker Carlson yesterday, which, as I shared, was all coordinated between the two men in advance, certainly of his resignation letter, but clearly timed to use it as an attention grabber. At any rate, Trump's now former counterterrorism chief made a lot of allegations yesterday on Tucker's podcast with, first, some wild suggestions about Israel killing Charlie Kirk. Also, and critically, the war with Iran, including Mr. Kent said that Israel pushed Trump into it. Critically, though, on that point, Mr. Kent presented zero evidence yesterday about this allegation of Trump-Israel collusion, and that is very sad. It's very frustrating, disappointing, but as I suspected, it is what a lot of us probably thought would happen. Now, one other note here, we'll remember that Tucker Carlson himself has claimed that he too is under investigation about something. So it's very interesting, a little bit curious, that these two men, both under alleged investigation, have been coordinating for a while, now lashed up and working together and sharing their common themes and their beliefs with you and all of America. So that could be really important for a lot of reasons, including a desire, I would say, to potentially influence next fall's midterm elections. I don't, however, have high confidence information or intel on that yet. Finally, I am also getting some early indications about a major piece of news, about a major operation of U.S. forces to not only take Iran's islands in the Persian Gulf, that Karg Island, and in the Strait of Hormuz, but also, ladies and gentlemen, a limited number of boots on the ground into mainland Iran. This is not going to be a full-on invasion with a big force, apparently. But still, this would be an important moment in this war with a lot of implications based on the mission set, the goals, which are clearly close hold by the Pentagon this morning, as we would expect. The point is that in all three pieces of the news that I've just shared with you about Israel's unhappy bombing of the gas fields in Iran, to Mr. Joe Kent's interview with Tucker Carlson, and this possible movement of U.S. forces into mainland Iran, they are all quite big stories of profound importance that touch on some very sensitive information, and that is why I need a little bit of time to get you some higher confidence intel to help us understand what exactly is going on with each of these developments, because taken together, they could have very important implications for our pocketbooks, for the nation, and for the world. So today is one of those very rare days, if you've listened to me for 3-4 years now, that I'm going to ask for your indulgence to do the work that I need to reach my sources to get clarity, which is going to take a little bit more time than normal, and how shall I say this? A little bit more care to do it right.
There you have Brian Dean Wright, the Wright Report. I listen to it almost every day, and this morning I was really surprised to hear him give an abbreviated version of his report, just about 7-8 minutes long. Normally it's half an hour. He's a former CIA agent who still has a lot of resources and connections in the counterintelligence world, and he's always very careful to never divulge information that would jeopardize American activities or be illegal, of course, but he will sometimes give intel that gives you a hint of things to be on the watch out for. And I think the three things that he mentioned today, and we'll come after the break, talk about it perhaps a little bit more, but the Iranian response by bombing Qatar, or Qatar, I believe is that's properly said, and the escalation that can bring to disrupting the global energy markets over there, along with the Joe Kent and Tucker Carlson interview, and the information or misinformation or disinformation, some would say, that's going out as a result of that, are very troubling. And then finally, if you start mentioning boots on the ground in Iran, I think that brings the conversation to a whole nother level. And I think a lot of moms and dads are very concerned about what that would look like. We'll talk about that and more after this break.
KSYL. I'm Blake Miguez, and I approve this message. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'm Blake Miguez. I'm a 7th-generation Louisianian. My family has been part of this state for centuries, built businesses, raised families, and live by the values that make Louisiana, Louisiana. Conservative groups rated me the most conservative candidate in Louisiana's 5th congressional race. And President Trump gave my campaign his complete and total endorsement, calling me a MAGA warrior, because when he needs someone in Washington who will fight hard, he knows he can count on me. President Trump has counted on me. Louisiana has counted on me. I won't let either one down. I'm Blake Miguez, Trump's MAGA warrior. I'm ready for this fight, and I'm asking for your vote. Paid for by Miguez for Louisiana.
It's springtime in Cenla and time to explore. Feeling adventurous? Go biking or hiking in the National Forest, or camping at the many recreation areas that offer canoeing, kayaking, boating, and fishing. Fun for the whole family. Check out the animals at the zoo, on a petting farm, or at a drive-through safari. Love golf? Then hit the links. And for those with a taste for freshness, don't miss our farmers market. Visit explorelouisiana.com to plan your trip today. Want more ideas? Go to alexandriapinevillela.com.
Starting a business shouldn't feel overwhelming. At Janikin Gulf Coast, we give you a clear, proven path to ownership. You receive guaranteed initial counts, local support, and the training you need to succeed from day one. For over 35 years, we've helped people turn steady careers into thriving businesses, and you could be next. Start your journey today at JannikinCleans.com.
Jannikin, the king of clean. Thursday night, it's LSU Fighting Tiger Baseball. Join us as they start a 3-game homestand against Oklahoma. Airtime 6:30. You can hear the entire series on KSYL. 970 AM, 104.9 FM, 100.3 HD3.
Got a big day ahead of you? Then it's best to fuel up with some of Sinlaw's best at Bricato's restaurant. Walk right in and just smell that home-style cooking. Place your order, take a seat, and do breakfast right till 9:30 this morning. Get fresh biscuits, eggs any way you like them, melt-in-your-mouth pancakes, grits, hash browns, sausage, bacon, even wraps and sandwiches. And don't forget their fresh brewed coffee. Bricato's restaurant, 28 West, right across from the Coliseum. Your breakfast is waiting for you.
Now back to Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
Welcome back to Talkback on Thursday morning, 19th day of March. St. Patrick's Day has already come and gone. Folks are getting back to normal, or life as normal as it can be. Just played a little piece there for you from the Wright Report. It's something that I think might be worth your subscription if you're looking for a daily update on information that comes from some really good, reliable sources. The Wright Report, that's WRIGHT. And he talks today about 3 different topics that he thought were pretty big, but they also needed more development. Normally he spends more time providing it. He gives the information and then he provides his analysis. Today he just gave the information, and I'll be looking forward to tomorrow's show. But I was mentioning to you there at the end of the last segment that if America puts boots on the ground in Iran, the already tenuous support for the military action probably could go the other way, as I don't know if American moms and dads would be supportive of action that would put their kids in harm's way.
Even the phrase boots on the ground, I think gets a lot of people nervous. Of course, that would be an escalation a lot of people would be concerned about. I saw the Joe Kent thing this morning on Tucker Carlson, some of the interview. And that's kind of a rumor that swirled around from the beginning almost. Maybe not directly linked to the Iran war, but because it didn't exist yet, but having something to do with Israel. And a lot of that narrative and topic is, I wouldn't say isn't really fringe anymore. I think a lot of people are paying attention to it. Some would say conspiracy theories. Some would say, that it's obvious, but I think that's hitting the narrative more these days. And I think a lot of even MAGA supporters are concerned about that. A lot of them, all of them aren't either. I know some callers here that aren't. So interesting politics that's happening.
Well, it is interesting. The Tucker Carlson take on it has really caught some people by surprise. He and Candace Owen have become a part of this. I don't even know what to call it. Conspiracy is not the right word, but they are definitely touting that Israel's pulling America's strings. And I don't know if that's a new anti-Semitism or if that's where to chalk that up. Let's go to the phone line and see if a caller has more wisdom than we do. Good morning, caller. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Good morning. I was just wondering, how did they get those bodies out of Iran?
Which bodies are we talking about?
The 6 that they just came back yesterday.
I think those were actually in Kuwait, if I recall right. Iran had bombed a military installation in, I think it was Kuwait.
No, the 6 that came down in the KC-135 refuel. I thought it went down in Iran.
Okay, well, that's a new piece for me.
I mean, who did somebody else get them out, or did we have to go in and get them out?
I haven't heard that.
Well, I'm just wondering how did they do it?
My assumption.
And I mean,
we have recovery forces, right, that are specialized in that. And my guess would be is that those recovery forces would have gone in immediately to try to recover.
And they probably landed. So there's probably already been boots on the ground.
That's a great point. I see where you're going there.
And the other thing is, I think something's going to have to be done with that enriched uranium to get it into somebody's control or possession. And that's the other thing that I'm thinking they would have to put boots on the ground for.
Well, like I said, there are wiser people than me that listen, and you're one of those, and that's a great point.
No,
because
I'm just asking.
No, it's a great question, because just because it's buried under tons of concrete doesn't mean it's not still an existential threat to anybody who gets their hands on it.
Right. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate it. Let's go to the next line. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, sorry to double dip, but I couldn't text fast enough. That plane went down. It wasn't over enemy territory. It was on a refueling accident. It was the same thing that happens when they're training around here, and that's why we're so effective, because we can train so often. But they weren't anywhere near Iran when they went down. It was a mid-air collision, and the plane that was trying to refuel landed safely, but the refueler went down, unfortunately.
It did go in western Iraq is what I'm seeing now. So there you go, March the 12th. And it was a sparsely populated desert area. All right, well, thank you for that. I appreciate it, Dave.
You're welcome.
When you have good information like that, feel free to double dip. That's good intel. Nevertheless, the caller's point about getting the hands, who's going to control that enriched uranium, I think is very critically important as well. So good call there. Well, I think, when I think boots on the ground, I'm thinking battalions and divisions and whatnot. But if you're having a limited purpose like that, whether it's recovery mission or whether it's for survivors or casualties, or it's recovery for the uranium, I think most folks would support that. But if we start seeing brigades being shipped over there for ground offensives, I think that's where folks would really struggle. Well,
yeah, and it's stuff that a lot of young people are talking about. We heard about the draft a couple of weeks ago, and what's going to happen is it's going to bring in other countries and be a wider conflict. So it's also hard to kind of talk about too sometimes when you don't really know exactly what it's about either. So
it makes it a difficult time to turn 18 because you've got to register for selective service, which is 18 to 25, I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 26
maybe somewhere in there. Yeah. But it's a requirement that basically lets the military know where you are in case a draft were to evict. I don't want anybody saying that we're sitting here saying a draft is coming. That's not what we're saying.
Oh, the White House didn't rule it out. So.
Yeah.
That's why we're talking about it.
So that's part of the information that the Brian D. Wright. I got to tell you, I find I'm so grateful Dave turned me on to him, because he's become just a great source of information. I go back though to I'm really struggling with the Candace Owen, Tucker Carlson. I think the take on there is they're saying that Israel murdered Charlie Kirk. That was an assassination by Israel. I think they've come out and actually said that, and that level of conspiracy flagging is my goodness, that's a whole nother level. But we're Conspiracy USA, it seems like now, because there's conspiracies about everything left and right. Well, we're going to take a conspiracy right now and go to commercial break. We'll come back with more after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics.
This is Dr. Jonathan Hunter. At the clinics, your health is our priority. Whether it's a routine checkup or ongoing care, we are here for you. Dr. Noah Miller, our newest family medicine physician, along with 5 other dedicated family physicians, are now accepting new patients. Schedule your appointment today. And remember, if you're ever admitted to the hospital, our doctors will see you there too. Most insurance and Medicare are accepted. The Clinics, 1587 North Bolton, 445-9823, online at theclinics.us.
Problems. Everybody hates them, but from time to time, everybody's got some. And that's why everybody needs to know about Southern Air Heating and Cooling. Heating or cooling problem? Call Southern Air. Plumbing or drain problem? It's Southern Air again. Your power's out and you need a generator? Guess who? And you can keep those problems away this winter with a heating tune-up. Call Southern Air Heating and Cooling now at 318-777-5555 or visit us online at southernairnow.com.
I start every workday morning off the same way. I stop in and pick up breakfast at Wilmore's Mobile and Sub Express. It's convenient, quick, and oh so good. Croissants, biscuits, breakfast subs, and their hot coffee is the perfect pick-me-up. They always ask me why I'm in such a good mood when I get to work. Improve your mood. Stop by Wilmore's any weekday morning from 6 till 9 and get your day started right. That's Wilmore's Mobile and Sub Express right there on the corner of North MacArthur Drive and Bayou Rapides Road.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. If someone talked you into buying something really silly and you want to get out of that silly little thing, my advice, get the facts. Call me and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit absolutely free. Inside, you'll learn how timeshare works and all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-909-9696. 800-909-9696.
Are you tired of high cable TV rates? Sign up for Dish today and get a $500 bonus offer while supplies last. Plus, lock in your price for 2 years guaranteed. Call All-American Dish, your Dish authorized retailer now.
800-296-1251. 800-296-1251. That's 800-296-1251. Offers require credit qualification, 24-month commitment, early termination fee, and e-auto pay. Restrictions apply. Call for details.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talkback.
Welcome back to Talkback. A little shift here to local news. Interesting story in the Rapides Parish Journal. A couple of new inductees to the Bolton Hall of Fame, Bolton High School Hall of Fame will be introduced soon. The late Edward Gordon Ned Randolph Jr., class of 1960, and the late Robert Beal Buddy Tudor, class of 1953, are among the 6 that will be inducted next month. And the story goes on to talk a little bit about both of these two headliners, mentioning that Ned Randolph was Alexandria mayor for 20 years. And, of course, before that, he was a state representative and a state senator. I got to say that there was a paragraph here that caught me off guard. I read it the first time thinking it was a swipe at Ned, but then when I reread it, I thought, okay, well, maybe not so much. He says, Jim Butler, who longtime local news writer, said his tenure as mayor ended what can be kindly described as a non-productive period at City Hall and stretched through the England Air Base conversion and downtown redevelopment. When I first read that, I thought he was saying that Randolph's tenure was non-productive. But then I realized he said it ended what can be described as a non-productive period at City Hall. So I'll tell you, at first, I was getting up in arms about that. He does go on in the article to talk about Randolph being a Princeton graduate. Let people forget that. Got his law degree at Tulane, opened his practice in Alexandria following his military service. I had forgotten that he was a military man. He was first elected to the Louisiana House in 1972. He went on to serve in the Senate. And it talks about, now get this, he passed some of the state public meetings laws and the public records laws. He co-authored some of the legislation that we still use today. And of course, his time frame as mayor oversaw the redevelopment of downtown, the transfer of England Air Base to the England Authority. So I think Ned Randolph is a no-brainer to be in the Hall of Fame. And I had to go back and look at that one paragraph because my first reading of that, I thought, but what you talking about? But,
well deserved, two Alexandria legends there. So very cool. Glad to see it.
Yeah, good to see that. Of course, Buddy Tudor, a well-known name in Pineville, and his legacy continues. He has descendants that continue to star in construction and things like that. He's got a son over in the Houston area, has made a lot of money, done well for himself. Other folks here in the area with Tudor Construction and the architect. So Tudor family, definitely well-known and highly respected. And a lot of folks may not have realized, prior to the 1950s, if you were in Pineville, you went to school in Alexandria. I think Pineville High School may have been constructed in the early 50s, 53, 54. Somebody correct me on that, when Pineville High School was corrected. But prior to that, if you lived in Pineville, you attended school in Alexandria, and thus Buddy Tudor, having been a graduate at Bolton in 1953. That may have been the first year. I just can't remember if it was 53, 54, the Pineville High School was constructed. So interesting stuff there. The good news is that you can actually now search things quickly on the internet. And I'm trying to do that and type at the same time. 1952 opened a coeducational public high school in Pineville. So, yeah. So it makes sense that Buddy would have started at Bolton and continue. Let's go to the phone lines. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
I'm just curious. There's a lot of talk about the data center going up in the Boyce area, and there's been no to my knowledge, no reporting. I haven't seen anything on it. Is anyone going to do a story on it about the, how many people it's going to employ, if there's going to be any downsides to it being there?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I think several of us are curious about that. I do know some of the details we've heard. Some of it was reported by Matt Ritchie here on his Cenla Economic Update. Applied Digital is the corporation that has bought the property. I think it was $40,000 an acre for 600 plus acres. They're just north of Boise. He reported this week that they've filed a construction contract with, is it W.Y. Gates Company? I think it was W.Y. Gates Company to build it. And I'm trying to see who may have reported about that. I don't really see, like you say, a whole lot of local reporting. I think there was a story in the Rapides Parish Journal.
I mean, I did a story on it when it first happened. I reached out to the company. They did not want to comment at this point.
Okay.
But we talked about like the details of the sale and where it's going at and everything. So
yeah, that's on.
One of the things some other Baton Rouge papers have reported is that there was something called lightning, where some of the costs can be passed on as far as electricity.
I'll tell you what I'd love you to do. Would you mind calling back after the top of the hour and let us continue that conversation?
Okay, sure.
Yeah, we're coming up on the break, so we've got to take this break. But give us a call back.
I want to do a tease. Should you be able to marry your cousin? Details coming up after.
You've been listening to Talkback. The opinions expressed were those of the hosts and callers, and not necessarily those of Cenla Broadcasting. AM 970, FM 104.9, KSYL, and KRRV 100.3, HD3, Alexandria.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Deborah Rodriguez. The Iran war is almost 3 weeks old, and Defense Secretary Hegseth has just told reporters there is no time frame for ending it.
It will be at the president's choosing, ultimately, where we say, hey, we've achieved what we need to on behalf of the American people to ensure our security. So no time set on that, but we're very much on track.
As Iran intensifies attacks on oil and gas facilities around the Gulf, Joint Chiefs Chair General Dan Kane assures
U.S. CENTCOM remains on plan to achieve our military objectives and remain unrelenting in our pursuit of Iranian missile capabilities, UAV capabilities.
Now to the Middle East, and correspondent Charlie Daggett in Tel Aviv.
President Trump squaring off against both sides of this conflict, saying the U.S. has nothing to do with Israel's bombing of Iran's gas fields, demanding that Israel stop immediately and threatening to blow up Iran's gas fields if that country keeps attacking energy facilities in the Gulf.
The escalation is driving up energy prices. Crude oil hit $119 a barrel today. Gas prices jumped 30% in Europe. Here in the U.S.,
as Americans wake up this morning, the price of a gallon of regular gasoline is up by 95.5 cents from a month ago, averaging $3.88 a gallon.
CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger. The president's pick for Homeland Security Secretary, Senator Markwayne Mullin, could win an initial thumbs up from lawmakers on Capitol Hill today. CBS's Nicole Skanga.
We could see a vote from the full Senate as soon as next week, and we do expect that this will be relatively fast-tracked. We might actually have a situation where we see a new DHS secretary before we see the Department of Homeland Security reopen.
For now, massive backups are getting worse at airports as TSA workers go unpaid and call out sick. This is the last official day of winter, but it already feels like midsummer in parts of the West. Ed Kane works outdoors at a car wash in Las Vegas, where the high for today is 97.
We had a mild winter, so I was telling everybody that I figured we were going to have a hot summer. So looks like we're getting a start on it.
It reached 108 near Palm Springs yesterday, and it's not expected to cool off until Saturday. Could there be news ahead on aliens? CBS's Stacey Lynn.
The White House has registered the domain names alien.gov and aliens.gov. While the administration hasn't said what exactly they'll use the sites for, the move comes just a month after President Trump announced he was ordering administration officials to release government files related to UFOs and extraterrestrials.
This is CBS News.
Every Sunday, moderator Margaret Brennan goes face-to-face with top leaders to make you better informed. Face the Nation, Sunday on CBS and streaming on Paramount.
Jen, I didn't know you shopped here. Hey, I'm hunting for something fresh for spring. Oh, girl, skip them all. Jewelry Television has the best spring looks right now. JTV, way ahead of you. Just hit up JTV.com yesterday. Scored the cutest clover earrings, 2 tennis bracelets, and this gorgeous pearl ring.
Right now, new customers get $20 off any purchase of $99 or more at JTV.com.
Oh, and gold hoops and this turquoise bracelet. Just a couple things, huh? Maybe more than a couple.
Longer and have fewer heart-related hospital stays and urgent visits over 3 years compared to placebo. Amvuttra lowers the amount of vitamin A in your blood, which can affect vision. Other side effects include pain in the arms or legs, pain in the joints, and shortness of breath. These are not all the possible side effects of Amvuttra. For prescribing information, call 1-833-256-2748 or learn more at amvuttra.com. Ask your doctor about Amvuttra for ATTR-CM.
Blood banks are facing a severe shortage of O negative.
Dr. David Leon at UC Davis says this winter's big storms and illnesses have kept many donors away, including those all-important O negative donors.
O negative is kind of the safest blood to give when you don't have their blood type identified and you need blood immediately.
Leon is urging his fellow anesthesiologists, who administer 60% of blood transfusions, to use O negative sparingly.
Type and crossing patients' blood type as soon as they hit the door. So you can, again, try to minimize the use of these O negative blood units.
Michael Wallace, CBS News.
BTS drops its 10th studio album tomorrow. It'll be the first since all 7 members completed mandatory military service. They're hoping their comeback will be as successful as an original pop king. That would be Elvis, greeted by adoring fans after his return from service in Germany in 1960. Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Louisiana Radio Network. I'm Sean Burns. A political action committee that supports 5th District Republican congressional candidate Rick Edmonds says it has produced the first ever AI political ad in Louisiana history. Lionel Rainey with the Louisiana First Victory Fund says the commercial features 4 AI-generated characters who are worried about Edmonds' conservative platform.
By showing people in the ways that they're offended by him, it is actually telling you positions where he stands.
The McNeese men's basketball team is looking to shock college basketball today with an upset over 5th-seeded Vanderbilt in the NCAA tournament. Senior guard DJ Richards says the Cowboys are solely focused on surviving and advancing.
We came here with one goal. It's a team goal, and it's to win. And whatever helps McNeese win that day, that's what we're going to do. Only thing that we're going to be focusing on for real is doing things the right way, playing the way that we've been playing all year, and just let the goals and all those things take care of itself.
LRN. The Associated Professional Educators of Louisiana is clearing up what it says are misconceptions about Amendment 3, which would give teachers in Louisiana a permanent pay raise. Here's Andrew Greenstein.
We have the money. We just need permission to use it.
APEL Executive Director Dr. Keith Corville talking about the 3 funds in the state treasury that would be retired in order to give teachers a permanent pay raise of at least $2,250. Corville says the fact that this is on the constitutional amendment ballot is simply standard operating procedure.
We just have to have this as a constitutional amendment in order to access those funds.
Corville says this will not raise anyone's taxes, nor does it reduce money for things like early childhood programs or classroom initiatives. I'm Andrew Greenstein.
The Louisiana film industry is celebrating After Sinners, which was filmed in and around New Orleans, won 4 Oscars on Sunday. Film Louisiana President Jason Wagensback.
Every time we see the Oscars with a Louisiana film, it really shines the light. I'm here in LA actually right now talking to producers who are saying the same thing.
LRN.
The world once needed lots of paper made right here in central Louisiana. Now we're making a comeback with clean methanol. Beaver Lake Renewable Energy will turn Louisiana wood into fuel, creating hundreds of direct and indirect jobs and giving loggers a steady market again. It's not just a plant, it's a promise to our land, our people, and our future. Visit beaverlakerenewable.com and find out how we're putting central Louisiana back on the map.
Good morning. Sunny skies on our Thursday. Going to be a nice day. Afternoon highs near 79 degrees. We'll see a south-southwest breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies down to 53. Another beautiful day tomorrow with sunny skies. Afternoon highs near 83. Then get ready for a nice weekend. Sunshine Saturday and Sunday. High temps both days in the mid-80s. From the Cenla Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Gratian.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
It's Talkback, Central Louisiana's longest-running talk show. Whether it's the guests or the callers, Talkback is where Central Louisiana begins its conversation.
Welcome back to Talkback, Thursday, the 19th day of March. The last official day of winter is upon us, and according to the text I just got from Pineville Alerts, this could be your last chance for a little while. Come out and welcome Chick-fil-A one last time in Pineville today, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. in the Max parking lot on 28 East. That's a couple of times the city of Pineville has sent that notice out. They must know something that I don't know.
Yeah, I think they're trying to convince the corporate to let it come here.
Yeah, it sure seems like it. They're putting on the full court press to show them how welcome Chick-fil-A would be in Pineville. So, yeah, appreciate that reminder that Chick-fil-A final day at Max Fresh Market there on 28 East in Pineville. Had a caller before the break at the top of the hour. The music started playing. We couldn't finish that conversation. Hope she'll call back. She had a question about, can the cost of construction for power plants be passed on to citizens and our current customers? And did you send me a link? I didn't get it yet.
Can you get it?
No, there it is. No, I didn't. Still hadn't got it. Well, there it is. It came from KSYL. Okay, there it goes. All right, thank you. You did send it. That actually is a today story. Look at there, March 8th. Well, yesterday's story. It says this is the Rapides Parish Journal's statement regarding Rapides Parish leading Louisiana in fast sites designation. There are 3 different locations that have been designated fast sites. And all that was announced by Governor Landry back on March the 3rd. And this is, according to the Rapides Parish Journal, more than any single parish in the state, which puts Central Louisiana as the front runner in the readiness program for new industrial sites. And so those 3 sites are Beaver Lake Industrial Park, England Air Park, and Port Distran. Of course, Beaver Lake and Port Distran. No, Port Distran is not associated with Beaver Lake, is it? That's a total different project for their activities. It says Fast Sites is backed by the $150 million Site Investment and Infrastructure Fund created in the 2025 legislative session. And it's that revolving program where they'll put money into a project. Then when that site is sold or leased, the state recovers its investment and gets to reuse those funds in future projects. So that becomes a one-time investment by the legislature that can grow and continue. But that doesn't really address the question that the caller had, which was, if we get a new data center here, perhaps on one of those, on that fast site, and a new power plant has to be built, who pays for that? So I asked the question of Google, and can electrical costs be passed on to consumers? And according to them, it says, yes, recent policy changes in Louisiana allow utility companies to pass a portion of the infrastructure and electrical costs for fast-tracked industrial projects on to regular customers. And it goes on to say that up to, according to the new rule, data centers are expected to pay for half of the new power plant construction. Means the other half could potentially be paid by regular ratepayers. And I think that may be some of the pushback. We wondered, would there be pushback to AI centers as there is on carbon sequestration? I don't think carbon capture is an issue. It's the sequestration that's the issue. And this may be one of the areas where there is some pushback, especially if those costs get passed on to customers. I always assumed that if you were building for a new customer, that it's kind of the whole law of supply and demand. You create more supply, then the price would come down. But I guess on the front end, the demand is what's going to make the price go up. Can you figure that out for me?
No, I mean, I'm not, C-level employee, so I don't really know a lot of these business workings and stuff, obviously, and I'm young and dumb. But of course, right, if they're not going to get rid of one of their, I'm not going to say it. Of course, you might have to pay a little bit more, or the company has to find the money to build something like that. I'm sure there's other ways to do it, but I don't think either way would shock me, right? So.
It does go on in this article from New Orleans City Business says, while some officials argue that these data centers provide or will provide overall savings to the state, the regulatory framework has shifted to allow utility companies to pass on capital costs for new power generation to existing ratepayers. So that would be a pushback, but at the same time, if I'm not playing any kind of advocate, just asking questions. If the increase was negligible, let's say, $10 a month, $20 a month, something like that, but the outcome is you get a ton of new jobs.
And that's what I was going to say.
Jobs, is that not something that we would be willing to bear? It's not a tax. It's the cost of doing business. The downside is there's no option. With the tax, at least you get to vote on it, right? There's no taxation without representation. On a rate, you don't get to vote on the rate. The PSC would have the opportunity to vote on that.
And it's a monopoly, right?
It is.
There's nothing you can do about it. However, here in Central Louisiana, as long as I've been here, 15 years, all we've really talked about is when are we getting this new boom, this new industry? And we see several different opportunities on the horizon, and of course there's going to be some people have issues with it. Issues with that situation are going to be completely different than issues with a CCS project or whatever you might have you. But I think the AI thing is just the way the world is going, and we could be one of the first ones to get on board with that, and I think that's an exciting proposition as well. Of course, we have to vet it and look at all the different aspects of it. But I think on the surface, it looks like it could be a good opportunity.
Looking back at a December 25 story on KLB, they were featuring, and this actually comes from the Louisiana Illuminator, they were looking at the situation up in North Louisiana where the Public Service Commission adopted a rule on a 4-to-1 vote, which created a streamlined approval process to reduce the amount of time to greenlight utility projects that would provide power to data centers. And of course, Devontae Lewis from Baton Rouge was the sole dissenting vote, but everyone else said that this would be a good move. And what it does is it suspended certain consumer protections if utility companies need to quickly build power plants for certain industrial developments, including data centers. If that comes to Rapides Parish, it looks like CLECO would need to build one in a hurry, supposedly, to provide that. But I don't know. I don't know if electrical contracts are subject to public purview. I know the contract is there for the construction of the data center, but do they have an agreement with CLECO to provide power? Would that be made known? I don't know.
I don't know, but there was a big hoopla in North Louisiana, Caddo Parish, Shreveport, where they are looking at building a data center, and they have their it's like a municipal board. It's almost like an advisory committee almost. I think that's what they call it. Something to that effect, or metropolitan board. And I think they voted against some of the data center stuff, but the city was like, no, this is important for us. We're going to do it, and thanks for your opinion. And that caused a lot of issues, some back and forth and everything, and ended up moving forward and getting pushed through by the council because I think a lot of city leaders believe that, hey, this is a big deal for our area. And let's be honest, Louisiana's trajectory when it comes to population and development has not been pretty.
Right.
That's why we see a lot of people leave. They go to different places with better infrastructure, more jobs. And so the opportunity of having these businesses come here, which is why you see a lot of these businesses come here, because they probably think we're a little desperate, right?
Right.
But I think they believe that could be a big difference maker. And of course, if you're on a fixed income and the prospect of having higher electricity rates is unnerving. I completely understand that. But I think we also have to look at the pros and cons of something like this and think, man, could this really change our area? And I think a lot of people believe it could. And I think for people I'm not trying to give my opinion, but like people like me who are in my 30s, and I truly intend to grow my family here. You know, right now in my moment of life, I'm like, man, I don't want moving is just not about it's not on the cards right now. So I'm really looking at the future and hoping we could, you know, get people to move here, have jobs. And you want that balance too. Like there's also me, like, I don't want to be like Lafayette where I have to wait in traffic,
right?
But I want more opportunities. So I guess we have to suck it up and get over one of them, right? And make a little sacrifice. But have you talked to people in Monroe and Richland area where this is coming in? Have you heard from anybody?
Yeah, I talked to one guy from the Monroe area recently, and he was on the pro side. He felt like it was going to be a real big positive for them from the idea of new jobs, higher pay and wages. They felt like it would attract people to move there from out of state. So you'd have new blood coming in, new money coming in. So that was his perspective.
Because who's going to really want to move to Monroe otherwise? You know? And I don't know.
One of the questions I think some would have, though, is are these jobs basically going to be maintenance? And by maintenance, I don't mean sweepers. I mean people who are pulling computer frames apart, replacing CPUs, basically technicians. Are these going to be actually AI engineers? I don't think it's going to be the coders. I think they're going to be working remotely. But I still think you're going to have $75,000 to $100,000 technician jobs that would be higher paying than I think Matt said the other day the median household income in Central Louisiana is $60,000. Mm-hmm. So if you get 300 new $75,000 a year jobs, it doesn't move the needle a whole lot, but it certainly increases the depth of, it makes the pie bigger for all the restaurants and all the gas stations and all the convenience stores and all the grocery stores, because all those new people have to shop somewhere.
And if we don't have an AI development come into our area, what do we want? Like if we're always asking for something different, what do we want? Yeah. And I get it. Like we're a little gun shy, right? Because we've had other companies come here. What was that company? Revolution Aluminum.
Yep.
Like remember that? We had Governor Jindal. Yeah. Governor Jindal come down here. It ended up being a shell game.
Right.
Not the governor, but the guy who was over it. We've heard
in federal prison right now.
He's in federal prison. That was such a mess. I mean, they made a big deal out of it. Like you thought for sure this was going to happen. Sundrop Fuels invested tens of millions of dollars. Never happened. So we see Applied Digital invest, $40 million? What was it?
No, so far, it's going to be like a $2 billion investment, but on their front end, $40 million.
So we're like, okay, we'll wait and see. And there's a lot of things that have to happen for it to happen. But if we don't take advantage of some of these opportunities, what do we want? Yeah. What are we going to do?
Applied Digital spent $27 million just on the property alone.
Just on the property.
Just buying that 600-acre tract.
And you think that's serious, and obviously tens of millions of dollars is serious.
Yeah.
But, until we start seeing something go up, I guess.
Well, at least there's a fence up out there. I've been told there's fencing around the property, so that's a good thing.
But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't be, that doesn't mean we shouldn't be aware of some of the downsides of it, how this can affect our local residents, the customers of the electric company, and, really look at the pros and cons and see where that lands. But on the surface, and we could try and get more information, and I'm sure we will, but on the surface, it looks like a decent opportunity.
I love your question, though, of what do we want?
Yeah.
I think, so I'll give you something that I think is phenomenal. We've had some local homegrown companies that have exploded in a great way. Hayes Manufacturing, Distran, Crest. These are local industries some of them born in somebody's, I'm trying to think of the
backyard
word.
Is like
exactly. The garage and their trunk of their car. I mean, Crest Industries started in the trunk of a guy's car going around selling electrical parts, and now it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation with, maybe 1,000 employees. And so when a Hayes Manufacturing expands and hires on 50 new welders, I know Union Tank is not doing as much as it used to do, but there was a season there where Union Tank, Distran, and Hayes were fighting each other for welders. Thankfully, CLTCC has kind of filled the gap, and they're producing those welders and getting them out there, and there's pretty much guaranteed jobs. You get a welder certificate, you're going to have a job, and those are local businesses. I think that's phenomenal.
Yeah, and that's amazing, and you have been seeing some of those companies expand, but it would be nice to continue expanding that tax base so we could have more money. And look, we got some infrastructure problems, especially all across Louisiana. including in central Louisiana.
Even with those expansions, we've still had an out-migration. So,
yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll continue the conversation. We'd love your phone calls. 318-442-8255, the BOM Talk Line. Back with more on Talkback after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics. With 18 providers and 3 locations, someone can see you today.
Hello, I'm Lieutenant Governor Billy Nungasser, inviting you to help keep Louisiana beautiful. Love the Boot Week, Louisiana's largest cleanup effort, is back April 18th to the 26th. This year, for America's 250th birthday, we're challenging volunteers to pick up 250 pieces of litter in their community. We've made real progress, but there's more work to do. Get a group together and register. For more information, visit lovetheboot.org.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare for takeoff.
United Express flights to Houston are taking off in May from Alexandria International Airport. Reservations are now open for twice daily flights operated by SkyWest Airlines. Skip the drive. With nonstop service to Houston, you're one step closer to nearly 200 destinations worldwide. And if you're a United Mileage Plus loyalty member, you can earn miles for your flights.
Houston, we have liftoff.
Book now at flyaex.org/united. Reunited. And we're so excited. If you'd like to take part in the show today, call the BOM Bank Talk line at 442-8255. That's 442-TALK. And remember, if you're looking to purchase or refinance your home, call Christina Bagwell at the BOM Bank Mortgage Department at 448-2430.
It's Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
Welcome back to Talkback. It's a great conversation we're having. I caller, I don't know if we just answered your question, you didn't call back or what, but
well, someone said like the secrecy. Why has it got to be secret? And I completely understand that, and that can brew a lot of conspiracies or concerns, right? When companies aren't being immediately forthcoming.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of NDA stuff because a little thing could kill a deal. A lot of information needs to be withheld, at least from the start, is what they would argue. Because it's such a sensitive process.
Matt's an expert at those NDAs, non-disclosure agreements. He understands the necessity of those in bringing a new business to town. And I think I get the tension between that because it can appear to be cloaked in secrecy, but you also, if you have in this fast world of AI, who else might be competing for that site or that opportunity, and so there's a need for.
I mean, it's not even AI companies or CCS companies that are secretive. If let's say Chick-fil-A was going to come to Pineville, and they're going through the process of buying it and developing it, they're going to be secret too.
Sure.
You know, your chicken restaurants are secret too. There's a certain secretive business. Fast food business in Alexandria that's coming that still hasn't announced they're coming because there's just a lot of deals to be worked out.
You're telling me there is?
There is one.
Oh, that's good.
And they just haven't publicly said who it's going to be yet because it's very sensitive at this moment.
Well, I know a developer a few years ago who wanted to do a development in a certain area, and there were pieces of property that needed to be purchased in order to make that happen. And so he actually contracted with some other people to buy so that each one was bought by a different person, and then later he consolidated them because he said if the word got out that this well-known developer bought one piece of property there, every other piece of property would go through the roof, and it would destroy the market. You know, the way that the market would work is he bought it at that current day's market pricing, not 10 years from now market pricing.
That makes sense. And don't you just love how everyone's in their own world where they're making deals and making money, and I'm just sitting here looking at TikToks all day.
Well, the good news is you've proven to be a trustworthy person. You understand an embargo date in the news world. If something's embargoed to a certain time, you can keep that piece of information to yourself.
Maybe this doesn't make me a good journalist sometimes, but sometimes I knew something a long time ago, but I'm not going to harass people about getting it out. Because I don't like burning bridges because I might need that bridge later, and just being respectful as a human being. So it's hard for me to just be bulldogish sometimes, and I'll get beat and well, that stinks.
But I also think that's why you are I'm not going to say universally loved, but
I don't know about that.
But you really are valued. The community really values, what you bring to the community. So
also, I think, not to make it about me, I think my problem which makes me difficult in my profession, is I'm not really nosy enough sometimes. Like, I just don't care sometimes. Like the people who go and buy like the mugshot newspapers, I'm not judging you.
Yeah.
I get it, but I don't get it.
Do they still have those around?
Whatever, like they're really into that kind of stuff. Yeah. I just could not care less. I could not care less. We got enough drama in the world otherwise, but some people like that and I don't. But like these industries coming, I feel like a lot more is happening than whenever I left.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a good sign. Of course, we'd like to see things our own way or see things differently, or, you don't want it to be a certain kind of restaurant sometimes, but I think things are moving up. I think, Alexandria has a lot of bright things happening in certain parts of town. And I think Pineville is exploding a dramatic word. I think it's doing a lot.
Yeah,
I think it's exciting. It doesn't, some would say, well, it's just these, small businesses and, restaurants. We need this big industry to come, or we need something bigger. But I think those small businesses are huge. And I think it makes the place much more attractive for the future.
Well, years ago, in his first term, Mayor Jacques Roy talked about the regionality approach and the need to be regional in your thinking. And he really made us think about that rising tide lifts all ships thoughts processes, and trying to not just we could be very insular. We could have Alexandria versus Pineville versus Ball versus Woodworth. And there are times there's a playfulness in that banter, but I truly believe, for me personally, I am thrilled when I see Alexandria hit a home run or Ball get a home run. Sure, I would have loved Tractor Supply in Pineville, but when Ball got it, I knew what a huge difference that would make for Ball, what it would do to their budget and their income, and it's still equally accessible. And when Alexandria gets something good, I'm thrilled for it. I really don't want to be that, well, I don't even want to ever cross the river again. I don't want to have that mindset. So,
I would never even think about that.
There are some who do, and I want us to be positive. Mayor Butler, we pick about at Rapides Area Planning Commission. There's always this joke about how much each month they get the report on the permit fees, and every now and then Woodworth, they'll land something big and they'll get a big number on the permit fees, and he'll be sure to point that out. Look what Woodworth did this month, and there's that jovial playfulness. But in general, Louisiana as a whole has been in a downward decline population-wise. Central Louisiana has been in a downward decline. Pineville, we've lost 500 people over the last 10 years. We got to change the whole thing somehow. Alexandria, I can remember we used to say Alexandria was 50,000. Now it's about 45,000. I don't remember when that was, but that's been over 30, 40 years. Whatever it takes to reverse that, not just having babies, but getting people to want to move here. Yeah. I'll tell you a big part of that, LSUA. That's another huge secret. Yeah. Man, they've hired on like 100 new positions in the last few years.
And I think LCU is on the up and up, hopefully, with the new leadership. That's going to be great. CLTCC is doing amazing. And at LSUA, they've been a bright spot for sure, and that's huge for the future. And people are going to stay and go to school.
Absolutely. I go back to that article by Jim Butler after I reread it, the idea that basically the malaise ended when Ned Randolph took office. I can see that as being the time that was downtown investment. Downtown was dead, literally dead. Yeah. If it wasn't for Century Drugstore, there was nothing downtown. Nothing. Yep. And today it is vibrant.
It is.
I was down there Saturday night. Our guests from who spoke for us Sunday, we actually put them up at the Hotel Bentley. It was a very reasonable price, great accommodations. So we went downtown, had supper, had so many options, so many people out on the streets. It felt like an actual tourist town. It did.
And that's why I just kind of roll my eyes when people tell me that downtown is blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, it is so much better than when I went to college in 2011. Like, it was a ghost town. Now there's people there all the time. Yep. And I love downtown. I try and go every day. Like, I'll go to church, and then I'll go to the coffee shop, maybe grab a bite to eat. Century Drug is one of my favorites. They have one of the best cheeseburgers in town.
No doubt.
For a good price. And, when I'm feeling really fancy, Diamond Grill is so good. I spent the money and got me one of those steaks the other day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And that lobster risotto. It's fantastic.
Wow.
I love it there. And then the Bentley room, you got Cafe de Soto, which is fantastic.
Mhm.
Critics' Choice. You see, you got me on something here. I'm a big fan of downtown. And then everything they're doing in downtown Pineville, like it gets me jazzed.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. Like you have that whole corridor there that is just an actual place to go now.
Yep.
And it's just going to get better, I think. So I think when people criticize it, that's fine. You have an opinion. I just think you're not remembering what it used to be.
Mhm.
And maybe you actually don't pay attention.
These are the good old days. Back with more after this.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Some negativity on Wall Street as hopes for any interest rate cuts at all this year wane a bit. The U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, meantime, telling businesses to hurry up and secure their corporate accounts within the popular Microsoft management tool Intune. After that cyber attack on the medical tech company Stryker last week, a pro-Iranian group claimed responsibility for that. Uber planning to invest as much as $1.25 billion in Rivian Automotive to help launch a robotaxi fleet starting in San Francisco and Miami in a couple years. Eli Lilly's experimental diabetes shot yields record weight loss, and the shot lowered blood sugar. It works by limiting certain gut hormones. Here comes the Labubu movie. Pop Mart International teaming up with Sony to bring Labubu to the big screen. And forget about retiring to France or Costa Rica. Some people are actually living on cruise ships. They say it's cheaper than living in independent living facilities in retirement communities in the U.S. Denise Pellegrini, Bloomberg Radio.
If you've ever wanted to be in business for yourself, but not by yourself, and didn't know where to start, Janney King Gulf Coast has already built the foundation for you. With guaranteed initial customers, hands-on training, and ongoing local support, you'll never feel like you're doing it alone, because you won't be. For over 35 years, we've helped people turn their dreams into real successful businesses. Take the next step. Discover a business built for you at JaneyKingCleans.com.
Janney King, the king of clean.
Attention all real estate agents, property owners, and lenders. When you or a client needs a real estate attorney, call the professionals at Thompson Law Firm. Whether the legal matter is basic or complex, the Thompson Law Firm can accurately guide you or your client to a successful outcome. That's why numerous industry professionals have trusted the Thompson Law Firm for years. They also handle estate planning, successions, and business law. Call them at 473-0052. I am a paid non-client attorney spokesperson.
The smartest self-defense decision is not made in the moment. It's made before danger ever appears. Because when you pull a firearm trigger, well, you're not just stopping a threat. You may be starting a chain of legal, financial, emotional consequences that can follow you for years. Now, that's why more responsible Americans are choosing to lead with a less lethal option that is effective. That's where Burner, their less lethal launchers, it fires tear gas, kinetic rounds, pepper spray. It's designed to stop any attacker for up to 40 minutes. And it gives you time to escape. It gives you time to create distance and get help without using deadly force. Now, Burner's best-selling compact launcher is sleek, it's slim, it's incredibly powerful. It's built for discreet, everyday carry, no background check. They can ship it directly to your door. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your future. Start with less lethal. Visit byrna.com today and find the right launcher for you and your family. That's byrna.com today.
Good morning. Sunny skies on our Thursday. Going to be a nice day. Afternoon highs near 79 degrees. We'll see a south-southwest breeze at about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies down to 53. Another beautiful day tomorrow with sunny skies. Afternoon highs near 83. Then get ready for a nice weekend. Sunshine Saturday and Sunday. High temps both days in the mid-80s. From the Zenlaw Broadcasting Weather Center, I'm Dave Grayson.
It's Talkback, 970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL.
Wow. Welcome back. Talkback. It's a good day. It's a Thursday, and the weather is going to be lovely just in time for the Nursery Festival in Forest Hill. And boy, is that a thing. I got to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
That's a fun thing to go to. Great prices. If you're looking for stuff to freshen up your yard, make your place look alive, you need to head down to Forest Hill for the Forest Hill Nursery Festival. Just saw one of the queens coming in here. She was interviewing over on KZMZ. So they're kind of making their rounds, letting people know what's coming up this weekend. You're going to cover that, huh?
I'm going to try my best. Good excuse to go to Mi Tierra, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. I've never been to that Mexican joint on the side of the road, though.
I have been there many times.
Is it
and
good?
I like it better than Mi Tierra.
I got to check
It
it
helps
out.
you to speak Spanish if you go there. But just a little hint. Bring your wife.
Let
me tell you how it works, though.
Okay.
You go into the little store and order your food and pay for it inside this little little building, and then you take the ticket out to the other building and they cook it for you.
Oh,
so
cool.
that's how that works.
Very nice.
Yep. And I'm telling you, the food is amazing. It is legitimate, authentic Mexican food.
I've passed by for like 25 years.
Don't pass by on this one.
I'll try it out. Then I went to there's the Michoacana.
Michoacana, yeah.
In Alexandria off of North MacArthur the other day. It was really good. Nice ice cream.
Michoacan is a state in Mexico, but everybody knows their ice cream. They're famous for their ice cream.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it'd be like talking about Wisconsin dairy products, right? I mean, everybody knows good dairy is up in, well, I guess Wisconsin. I might get that wrong. Is there another state that dairy is big in Louisiana, in the United States? Don't tell me.
I don't know.
Okay.
I think Wisconsin wins.
Okay, thank you. I got nervous there for a minute. Al's not here to, correct me, but yeah, that's what Michoacan is really, really known for, that style of homemade ice cream. So that's a good little spot.
I like to make my wife mad, who's from Venezuela, and I'll be like, oh, what is, because I'll go like Mexican joint or something, or say, hey, what does this mean, or what is that? She goes, oh no, I'm not Mexican. I'm like, I don't know. Like, oh, okay.
Another great place, if you like authentic Mexican tacos, is the little stand in front of Dantzler's Flea Market, just south of the South Traffic Circle.
Oh, yeah,
Lake Charles Highway.
Never been there either.
Again, it helps to speak Spanish because I don't think they speak much English.
They stay pretty busy, it looks like.
They're busy all the time. And locals know. That's one of those places where locals know.
Okay.
Yeah. Kind of like we talked about Pop's Place the other day.
Yeah, really good.
Locals know. So that flea market taco, I don't even know the name of the taco stand.
I don't either. It's kind of got a yellow building.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They'll take credit cards, so debit cards, so that works out pretty nice. And you can just point, when you walk in. So
what do you get?
I always get tacos, man. I'm addicted to tacos. I
Mhm.
love street tacos. Got to have the cilantro, the lime, and the onions. That's all I need. Cilantro, lime, and onions with whatever the meat is. So
I was disappointed because when I went to Lafayette yesterday, they have a Venezuelan restaurant called Patacon.
Okay.
And I was like, man, we need some sort of South American restaurant in Alexandria.
Yeah.
Hope it would do well.
Did you have your wife with you?
No, it was just me. I was running behind, so I wasn't able to stop. But
oh wow,
it's really good there. They have patacon, which is really good.
I don't know what
Arepas,
that
which
is.
are really good. Patacon is like a sandwich, but it's instead of bread, it's flattened and fried plantain.
Oh my goodness!
And they put like shredded beef, ropa vieja in the middle, and the beans and the cheese and the rice and avocado. Depends on what you want, right? You know what arepas are, right?
Absolutely, we're addicted to those.
So it's like a kind of a crunchy corn muffin with stuff in the middle of it. And the tequeños, of course, are our household favorite. My father-in-law makes tequeños, and we'll buy them from him. And we had to go to his house yesterday and buy them from him. So,
oh, cool. I need to try those out.
I'll get you some if you want it.
Yeah, we make arepas at the house. We get I think Kroger's is the only place in town that actually has the right kind of
Get the
flour.
pan,
Yeah, exactly.
We can let you borrow our arepa maker if you want. They're worth the investment if you like.
Really?
It's like a George Foreman grill,
No
but
way.
instead of like the grill, it's like a cutout oval
Yeah?
circle, and you just put it as a ball in there and put it down, and it cooks it.
Oh, we just fry them up in a pan.
You could do that, but the arepa makers are pretty cool. My wife fries them in a pan. I know nobody cares about this. We fry them in a pan if we're doing it that way, and then she puts them in the oven for a little bit. Kind of crunches them up.
I hadn't thought about that idea. Yeah. A little mozzarella cheese in the mix is what we always do.
I'm going to invite you for their next family outing.
Please.
I'll let you know.
Please. I will be there in a heartbeat.
I got to make sure they're cooking Venezuelan food. Sometimes they'll cook other stuff.
It's okay. I like food.
It's pretty good.
People ask me, how do I like my food cooked?
That's what I'm saying.
Outside of that, I'm good.
Was it the seafood diet? The seafood, you eat it?
More food tips on Talkback or not after this.
KSYL. This is Dr. Jonathan Hunter with the clinics. We provide primary, family, and chronic care along with gastroenterology, podiatry with on-site lab and x-ray services. I'm pleased to welcome family physician Dr. Noah Miller to our team. We are currently accepting new patients and same-day appointments are available. If you're admitted into the hospital, our doctors will see you there as well. Most insurance and Medicare are accepted. The clinic's on North Bolton,
445-9823 and online at theclinics.us.
Tired of that same plumbing issue? Call Southern Air Heating and Cooling. Plumbing problems, large or small, Southern Air will fix them all. And you'll get service with no delay from certified technicians the very same day. Take advantage of our $99 drain clearing special and our 0% financing for those larger jobs. Call Southern Air Heating and Cooling at 318-777-5555 or visit us online at southernairnow.com. The official heating and cooling provider for LSU football.
Hey, y'all, get out and celebrate the first official weekend of spring with these upcoming events, highlighting Louisiana's varied culture along with the great outdoors. April 3rd through 5th, Louisiana Lao New Year celebration in New Iberia. On April 4th, the Grants Dogwood Festival in Holland. And don't forget about the Books Along the Teche Literary Festival in New Iberia, held at Shadows on the Teche Historic Home. Visit festivals.explorelouisiana.com and make your plans to laissez le bon temps rouler.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talkback.
Hey, it's time for some more Talkback, and we would love to have your call, 318-442-8255.
Well, look, I teased this, and I feel like I have to.
Yeah, that's right. You better follow up.
Okay, so Florida, we love Florida news, fails to pass a bill that would ban cousin marriage, specifically first cousins. It would have prohibited incestuous marriages before the end of this year's session. It was filed in December, would have barred men and women in Florida from marrying relatives with whom they are blood related. A man, the legislation had proposed, may not marry a woman, blah, 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 blah. It would have also prohibited marriages between men and women who are descendants of the same grandparent beginning in July.
Descendant of the same grandparent.
Apparently there's like 18 states that still allow it. And West Virginia is not one of them. So start with that. Thoughts?
Well, I think, I don't know what I think. I think the phone line's lit up. Let's go to the phone line. Good morning. You're on Talkback.
Yeah, I was wondering about the data centers too. I looked on AI, which that's where you get all your answers. They call it a job desert, and they say 20 to 100 permanent jobs, $60,000 to $80,000 each. I mean, 60 to 80,000 each, but where they consume so much resources, it runs up prices on your utilities, and it's not really worth the trade-off. Really? Whether that's true or not, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah. So I just did the same Google search and get the same info you're telling us.
Well, interesting. Doesn't sound good, but I don't know. Yeah. I'm not an expert.
No, none of us are, but that's an interesting conversation. It does say here that, obviously short-term, hundreds of thousands of short-term construction jobs, but typically 20 to 50 operational staff. Larger facilities can have 100 to 200. But often as few as 20 to 30 per 100 MW. I'm not sure what MW is.
And I know that the U.S. is in a race to, compete with other countries like China in the race for AI, who's going to be better at it, because they believe who is going to lead AI in the future is going to lead the world. So I know that's a big issue for the administration as well.
Well, also, that's a plus for it. Because we don't need to let nobody else get ahead of us.
Right.
Yeah. It's a tough decision. And it's a tough, I'm sure, complicated subject as well. So I guess that's something we'll talk about over the next couple months.
Yeah, great. Indirect employment things to be a benefit as well on the indirect, but those numbers are so hard to quantify.
Does it even matter now? Because Elon Musk said we're going to put them in space.
Yeah.
That's what he says they're going to plan on doing by 2028 or something?
No cooling problems in space, right?
That's what I'm saying. So it's probably just going to change so fast. Who knows?
Yeah. Good deal. Hey, all right, caller. Thank you so much. Appreciate your call. 318-442-8255. Give us a call back. Let us know your thoughts on the situation. Or if you want to marry your cousin, let us know about that. As Stephen, it is illegal to marry your first cousin in Louisiana. But other relatives, it says marriage to ascendants, descendants, siblings, uncles, nieces, aunts, and nephews is illegal in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just had to throw that in there. I thought
So it failed in Florida, huh?
Yeah. Maybe it might come back up, they said, but that's that Florida freedom. You do what you want.
Well, currently, according to Wikipedia, first cousin marriage is legal in Florida, Mississippi, Alabama. Let's see, is that South Carolina? Looks like Virginia. Then you get over to Utah, Colorado, and believe it or not, California and Alaska and Hawaii and some northern states that I can't figure out where they are. So interesting. Okay. I don't know about that. Let's go back to the phone line. Good morning. You're on Talkback with Stephen and Nathan.
Hey, good morning.
Hey there.
Hey, good morning. Hey, Stephen, I saw you at the zoo. Carnival for animals. Yeah. Hey, how you doing? I'm a little late calling in, but what I wanted to say was I really enjoyed the discussion about the food. So you guys should do 5 or 10 minutes every show, and it can be kind of like Food Network stuff. But the restaurant, and I was late signing on. I don't know. Y'all were talking about Mexican restaurants. There's this little place on Metro called Caro's.
Oh yes,
yeah, we love Caro's.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just wanted to throw that in there because we had never been, and my grandson wanted to go, and we went, and it was just fabulous. So
Their
now
tortillas
we're
too are like handmade. They're fantastic.
right. Their street tacos are good. He's only 10, but he wrote this great Google review on their page. So if you get a chance, go to their page, and his name is Jace, and you'll see this very eloquently written review. And then we go back there a lot. The only disadvantage is they don't have a liquor license, so you can't get a margarita. But anyway.
Yeah,
it was great.
And I know in the folks, I don't know that they would do that.
They're not going to do that.
They're the kind of family that they probably wouldn't do that. If I recall right, she's from like Dominican Republic.
Yeah, well, Mary kind of runs the place a lot lately, and she's super nice lady. She's big at POA too.
Right. I think the husband's from Honduras and the wife is from Dominican Republic or something like that.
Right, yeah.
And their food is infused with love. I gotta say, that's some of the best food.
It is. You can just taste it, and so we love it so much. We will forego our margarita.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to tell y'all that this is Val, and y'all. Love listening to you guys.
All right, now hold on. I'm looking at
I saw her in the line. I saw her on the line at the zoo Palm Cafe. Is that what they call it? Palm Cafe? They have pretty good food too. I'm not gonna lie. It's not bad.
Yeah, they do. They have little snack stuff, but of course, Jace always goes for the ice cream. But that was a great program. I thought it was a great program. Great storyteller on Sunday. Just really great. We have that in our community. It's just really it's really a treasure.
Yeah, it is. I love
and the symphony. Yeah, the symphony too. It's good. So, all right.
Great.
Y'all have a great
for
day.
your call. I appreciate that. Always good to hear from
you.
Folks that let us have good information. I don't know why I forgot about Kairos. We were talking about good local food, man. That is some of the best.
Yeah, they are one of my favorites for sure.
So help me understand Jackson Street Extension. There's one restaurant, there's one crawfish place that has a line that's 10 miles long.
Yeah.
And then right down the street, there's another one that doesn't have a line. What's up?
Oh, you better be careful.
I mean, it seems like I drove
Which
by
one?
one. I don't know the names of them.
So the one you're talking about, I think is it it's not crawfish time, is it? I don't know. The one by Ash is that one. The line is long because there's nowhere to park. But if you're talking about Hotheads off of Versailles,
no, I'm talking. It was really like a block away. Like
Hops next door.
I don't know.
They're usually pretty packed.
Are they? Okay.
Yeah, when I go, because I live right out there, and they're usually both pretty packed.
Okay. Like me some crawfish. There's a crawfish fundraiser coming up, I think, next weekend is it the Broom Tree that's doing that? I have to go back and look.
Well, we got another one, too. I'm in Kiwanis, and we have a big crawfish event coming up. So if you want to buy some tickets from me, hit me up. Stephen Maxwell TV on Facebook. I got some tickets. You get drinks, a couple trays of crawfish, good time. It's over at the Kiwanis camp near Pineville, Tioga. So Good and Nathan, I expect to see you there.
What's the date?
I forgot.
Okay, well, look it up during the break. We'll come back. He'll stop teasing us.
April something.
Yeah, right. All right, back with more with Stephen and Nathan after this.
Talkback is sponsored by The Clinics.
Need office supplies, janitorial supplies, or office furniture, either new or pre-owned? Then look no further than DTW Office Supply with wholesale prices on a large selection of top quality products, all with the personalized hometown service that you deserve. We're proud to serve the entire state of Louisiana with daily deliveries right to your door. Visit us today at 1219 MacArthur Drive or online at dtwofficesupply.com. That's DTW Office Supply, your trusted partner for all of your office needs. Quality, value, service.
Some smiles sound like this, while others sound this way. If you'd like to improve the way your smile sounds, the folks over at Today's Dental in Pineville can deliver. Over the years, hundreds of Central Louisiana patients have visited Today's Dental and then left completely satisfied. Their dental implant procedure is amazingly simple, low anxiety, and completely affordable. Today's technology makes your beautiful smile easier than ever. The staff at Today's Dental go out of their way to make you comfortable with calming in-office IV sedation that's administered by a highly skilled certified nurse anesthetist. And their multiple finance options make the entire procedure truly affordable. Want your smile to sound better? Give Today's Dental a call at 318-448-4540. It's a general dental facility on Highway 28 East in Pineville, owned by Dr. Jonas Goche. That's 318-448-4540.
The Greenhouse presents Heroes. Average people don't consider themselves to be heroic, but it's much easier than you think. Just stop by your local animal shelter and rescue one of the prisoners. The animal you save will never consider you just an average person again. In fact, your new pet will love you for the rest of its life, and it will show you that every day. So now you're a hero, and you didn't even have to put on your tights and cape.
970 AM, 104.9 FM, KSYL. Now back to Talkback.
It's snow cone season.
Yeah, we could talk about snow cones all day.
We were having that chat off air. And by the way, it's also free Dairy Queen Cone Day today.
Oh.
They'll be lining up early outside of Dairy Queen's today because it's free Vanilla Cone Day. Now, it's only one per person, and you have to be there in person. There's no delivery available, but they're giving away free cones and giving away happiness on Thursday, March the 19th. Don't know why they do it, but it's a good thing.
Oh, because you're talking about it. Hey, I would like to make one request, though, and this is very important to me. For all the snow cone owners out there, I don't know what happened or what this did to you and why it doesn't exist anymore, but I have a very hard time finding a certain flavor.
Okay.
And I think it's time you bring it back. It's Popeye.
Oh, really?
I can't find Popeye anywhere. I thought it's Super Cone the other day on Versailles, which I love. They had it on there, but it was like fatally like scratched out from years ago. And I was like, yes, Popeye. Like, no, it's scratched out there. I was like, dang. And I can't find it. And I think Popeye, if I can remember correctly, is bubble gum with spearmint or mint mixed together. And you're thinking, man, that sounds disgusting. No, it's just a unique taste. It's really good. So if you get Popeye with cream, you're on the right track there. That's my second favorite flavor.
It's a minty bubblegum flavor, bright green, often referred to as spinach green. Yep. That's the Popeye, right?
It's a unique flavor, but it's fantastic.
Minty bubblegum. Wow.
It's not minty. Like you're not going to eat it like, man, that's minty.
Okay.
It's good.
Well, my daughter is a blue raspberry with 3 creams kind of lady. That's her deal.
Oh, raspberry with cream.
Blue raspberry with cream.
That's interesting. I do like raspberry, but my favorite is Tiger's Blood all day.
Well, of course. I will say, though, that what's the name of that place on Versailles?
Super Cones.
Super Cones. Free advertising. We will drive from Pineville all the way there.
It's good.
Because she loves their ice. There's something about the way they shave their ice. Of course, we love to shave ice over at Palmetto's in Pineville.
Oh, I love that one, too.
And a close second. Now,
I might go there today.
My daughter's a little mad at Matt Ritchie because when he bought that place next to Ace Hardware on Edgewood, that means Kathy's Frigid Frog isn't there anymore.
Yeah, but they just got a new spot.
We got to get over there to it because my daughter loves Kathy's Frigid Frog too.
I ran into her son the other day, and he came up to me. He's like, "Oh, my mom runs Kathy's." Like, "Oh, I heard you are moving." Like, "Yeah, we're excited." And so
they're on Main Street, though, is what I heard.
Main Street, not too far from, I think, City Hall.
Okay.
It's one of those empty lots.
We're going to go look for it. Absolutely.
Kind of joining the whole Main Street happenings there. Sinlaw Grill and Chill off of Jackson Street, too.
Okay.
They do snow cones year-round.
Oh, really?
And they're fantastic. It's Cajun's Snowman. Is it Cajun Man Snowman's or something? I don't know. He does that one. Good food as well.
Well, I did find you a gallon of Popeye flavor for $34.
Yeah, but I need them to make it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have the proper ice machine. And if I say, hey, shave me some plain ice, and I take it home, it's going to be melted.
Well, look, you can buy a quart for $11.50. Just bring it, hand it to them, and say, I need your ice. Just fill it up with this.
Honestly, that might not be a bad idea. I just don't know why it's been removed from existence.
Probably because people look at that green, they go, yuck, it looks like spinach. Who wants spinach?
It's green. Greens is a good color, you know?
It sure is. I wonder if Kona Ice, no, Kona Ice wouldn't have that.
There's other snow cone places here, and I'm trying to, there might be a flavor there. So if you do have it, I will go out of my way to get it from
All right,
you.
folks, drive-by callers, you're on a mission. Find Popeye-flavored snow cones for Stephen Maxwell. Call him tomorrow and let him know where they are in Central Louisiana. So
I might do a call out on Facebook, too.
That'd be fun.
They're like, oh, we got one in Colfax. I have to drive to Colfax.
By the way, speaking of Colfax, my wife recently bought a car, and she registered it at Colfax DMV, in and out in 15 minutes.
That's a good idea, actually.
Yeah, it really
I've
is.
never really had issues in LA. I've always been pretty quick there.
Well, Pineville and Ellick now, you have to make reservations online.
Oh.
You have to make online appointments.
That's so annoying.
And so we've used a couple of the other, pay to play, but then you've got there's that extra some $23 fee or whatever on top of it. So she just made the little cruise up to Colfax and walked in, no line, paid her money, walked out with a new license plate. So
the Shreveport DMV, when we were there, you had to make an appointment. It was just awful experience. You make the appointment, you still wait an hour.
I like the folks in Pineville when I go, but it is tough to have to make that appointment. So, all right, folks, it wraps up another Talkback. It's in the books. Tomorrow morning, come back. Al and Stephen will have all of the latest news. What's happening in Zenlaw. And if you know where Popeye flavored snow cones are, help a guy out.
No, come on. What are y'all doing?